This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome, everyone. This is the October 28th meeting of the Climate Smart Kingston Commission, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 5:04 p.m. Welcome, everyone. On our call today, I'll list the following commissioners. First of all, I'm Julie Noble. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for the City of Kingston, and I am a non-voting ex officio member. Also with us, we have Commissioners Betta Broad, Melissa Iacchetta, Jessica Coonan, Kevin McAvoy, Dan Smith, Karen Sullivan, Cal Truman, Maya Niemisto. Hi, Maya. How are you? And we also have a guest, Neska Sebek. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. I will just be here for a half hour, but I'm looking forward to getting to know Climate Smart Kingston a little better.
Awesome. Did you want to make any public comment during the public comment period, which is now?
Is that what it is now?
It is.
Okay. I actually am working on it's very drafty and very, very new. I spoke with Julie about it to connect my sustainable research in India, in a village in India that I'm doing with an engineering school, to a neighborhood in Kingston. And I'm thinking that Julie was encouraging me to work in Pankaki. And the way that it would work is actually that it would, in spring of 2021, would be very much virtual. So that's the big kind of piece of the puzzle. How do you do that? And how do you actually, explain to people what this is all about? So it's basically the idea of having two communities on opposite sides of the world who basically are working class people, understand each other during this pandemic. That's the first semester. We've decided to just focus on the pandemic question, and then their answers and their data, if you will, would be put up on a website, and they would start to get to know each other. We have other ideas, very complicated ideas, and we've decided to just put everything else aside, even though the final intent is to make each other aware of the cultures of sustainability in both communities.
Excellent. Well, just to let everyone know, I have been talking to Aneska about this, and we're trying to look for an area in Kingston that really represents what Kingston has been for a long time, and represents a community that's really pulled together. And Pankaki, in my opinion, is that it built on Kingston's foundation. Those folks who have lived and born and raised in Pankaki, and generations of families, grew up here.
And it is diverse, and that's what I like about it. I really am looking for that diversity element.
Excellent. So keep us posted on that. See if there's a role for Climate Smart. And while you're here for the meeting, feel free to chime in on any of the issues that we've got, and welcome to our meeting. Hi, Serena. How are you?
Aneska, this is Kevin. I had one question. What town, city, village, or in India are you working with?
It's actually two small villages that are on the boundary of an engineering school, and there's this commitment from Narendra Modi that all schools should serve their villages. It's called Palaj and Basan in Gujarat, right smack in the middle of Gujarat.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. With no other guests, we'll proceed. Are there any modifications to the agenda? If not, we will move on to approval and review of the September 2020 meeting minutes. Thank you, Kevin.
I had one possible amendment, and that's just that I don't have the same connection as I did when I joined to the sort of solar projects going on in and around Kingston, and I wonder if it's still useful to have me trying to report back on them. I'm down to keep that if it's still helpful, but I don't usually have very much information anymore. So that's assigned to me, but I don't have anything to share most of the time.
Okay. I think it's important for us to keep that agenda item on the agenda, but I can take off the assignment to you and we can have general discussion about it for anyone who has updates.
I think that might be more productive, just because I don't really have any insider information at this point.
Excellent.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yep. Okay, so the September 2020 minutes, does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns, or changes to the minutes? If not, I need a motion to accept the September 23rd, 2020 Climate Smart meeting minutes as they are presented.
So moved.
Who is that, Karen?
Karen.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Betta? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thumbs up or hand? Okay, unanimous, thank you. And thank you, Kevin, for putting that together, as always. All right, so moving on to old business, climate action plan and greenhouse gas emissions update. A few things. We had a kickoff meeting of our project advisory committee for the climate action plan 2.0. Some of the folks on this call are on that project advisory committee, and it's a robust team. I'm very excited about it. And we have a great working relationship with Cadmus Group and Citizens for Local Power and Novo Foundation to advance that project. We visited a new timeline, which looks like the goal is to complete it by June, but I'm really telling myself it's going to be September. We went over the scope of work, which everyone seemed to agree with, and our next meeting is going to be planned for probably the second week in November. We're going to start to go over reviewing our greenhouse gas emissions inventory, looking at proposed or trending with the greenhouse gas emissions inventory, both in the city and the community, the municipality and the community, and also starting to look at some potential actions that we will focus in on and hone in on for the second climate action plan. We also have separate meetings set up with our communications director and Citizens for Local Power directly to hone in on what the communications strategy is going to be and the community engagement strategy is going to be. So I'm looking forward to that. And so I think you'll see a lot more coming out more publicly about all of this. We haven't really done a launch public yet. We do anticipate having our public kickoff meeting in December for the climate action plan. And I certainly hope that all of you will come, and that will be a great time for all of us to provide input. I will also say, I don't know that I've shared this information yet, but Sean Coster no longer works for the city. So he moved on to another position. Actually, he is moving back to his home state of Washington and taking a position there, which I'm very happy for him, but at the same time, very sad that he's not here anymore. But he had left a week or so ago. We will be refilling his position, so we'll be posting it as environmental asset manager or environmental specialist 1, which is a civil service position. So you'll see that coming out. If you have anyone who is looking for an environmental job for the municipality, it's full-time with really great benefits. And that would be starting probably as soon as we can get someone on board. I will say that the position morphed pretty dramatically from what we originally posted it to be to what he ended up being when he was leaving. And we're going to be reverting back to what the original job posting was, which is an environmental specialist focusing on research and data and energy and working in the sustainability division with myself. What it turned into was working more in engineering and doing project management. And so we're honing in on what we originally were looking for. Sean was fantastic in the role that he served, but he did move on to a different position. So if he's on any of your communications lists, please remove him from that. If you have anything you need to communicate with what you were going to communicate with him, please communicate with me. So that's where we are with the climate action plan. Betta, I don't know if you wanted to add anything further, or Cal, or Kevin, if I missed anything or wanted to add anything.
Cal, you go first.
I was going to see what Ben wanted to say before I chimed in.
No, please go ahead, Cal.
I don't have much to report. I was just going to say that as far as the project is putting together a public survey to sort of see what oh, did I freeze? Are we
You
good?
did, but you're back.
Sorry. Okay,
You're
everybody
back.
got all pixelated, sorry. Let me try again. There's some work underway to help with like the public engagement part through Citizens for Local Power under the name Empower Kingston, which is really just there to support the planning for and public engagement around the climate action plan. So there's a public survey to see what like folks are already energized about, and also like if there are parts of the community that are more interested in different things based on like zones of the city. And there's also like a website to support that, and there will be public meetings to support that as well after the climate action plan kickoff happens. And there's a mailer plan to go out just in every mailbox in Kingston to be like, hey, this is happening. Please take the survey. It will help us make sure that your desires around sustainability in the municipality of Kingston are taken into account. So
Great, thank you. Kevin or Betta, anything to add?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was at the Hudson River, the Hudson River Watershed Alliance. Gee, my brain was getting foggy there for a second. Yesterday, and Libby Damatis presented, was one of several presenters, together with Fran Dunwell, Mark Lowry, Emily, and a few other people. And Libby's presentation was discussing the Climate Smart Communities program and the changes in the various actions for certification. I imagine you're aware of that, Julie?
You'll need to be more specific. Are they changing the entire program?
Well, I think they were.
Did they mention the word goals?
She was indicating they were coming out with updated, the initiatives were being modified, and it would come out in November sometime.
I know that Libby was working on updating and modifying the resilience and adaptation portion. Are you talking about just that or the whole
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, that's exactly it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
resilience
I was
and
aware of it.
adaptation portion.
Yep. I was aware of it,
Okay.
and she actually asked, I've provided input to it.
Okay, that's what I just want to make sure everybody, yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Great. Thanks. Got anything to add?
Well, I guess the only thing to add is it would be great to get the commissioners' feedback on the survey and our plans going forward. I think we are going to end up tweaking the survey a little bit and adding potentially some things that are additional climate action goals. Right now, it's very focused on energy, but would still love to get people's feedback now, or we can send it once we've had a chance to add a couple of things. And just, once we get the date, in December for the public engagement process, just making sure that everybody here can participate and promote it. So we have a good turnout and want our commissioners to be involved in this exciting process.
Yeah, Cal, you should weigh in on this, but I would suggest waiting on the survey until we incorporate the other comments.
Okay.
But
yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know, Cal, you're spearheading that. What do you, or playing a role in that?
We got some comments, unless I'm misunderstanding, we got some comments at a meeting with folks who have been involved in the Empower Kingston aspect of things up till now, like some of those partner organizations and community like liaisons, and most of those I've already incorporated into the survey. I think we're waiting on a handful of partners who haven't gotten to look at it yet, but that I feel like this would also maybe be a good time for commissioners to look at it. So I'm not sure if I'm.
Well, I think maybe also we have talked, Julia and I have spoken since you and I last spoke, Cal, and and it's a good thing we're all talking right now. And I think we're going to maybe add a couple of things to the survey so that it does include some of the other priorities besides just energy. Originally, we were thinking it would be focused just on the energy goals, but it seems like if we can, because the survey is probably going to be our main at least initial like avenue for getting people's direct input, and there are other key kind of priorities, like we might end up including a question about composting, or we may include a question about local food or something, some of those other priorities. They're just like what people, are really concerned about related to climate action in the city. So I think that's more what we were thinking.
Okay.
Billy was saying we can add that before we circulate it to the larger group.
Okay, I can probably do that this week. We can talk.
Yeah, and I know that there's concern about it already being lengthy, so I think we'll have to talk offline.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you everyone for that input. Anything else on climate action plan work? Okay, I'll kick it over to Dan or Maya for refrigerants.
Sure, I'll take it away. So before Sean left, we finished roaming about the city and did the first chunk of the inventory, which was seeing all the equipment, getting pictures of the nameplates. So the next step is to upload all the nameplate data into a spreadsheet, and that'll tally up everything for us, and we can begin to estimate what sort of greenhouse gas footprint the city's refrigerants might have. But it was very useful and helpful of Sean to help us get that done before we left the position.
Did you feel like you found more than you expected? Or less?
Seemed about right, given the age of most of the city's building stock.
Okay.
A lot of add-ons, so like a lot of window units, a lot of split systems, only a handful of central systems.
So in general, do you feel like we are in a position to have a lot of room to improve, or not a lot of wiggle room?
The thing we don't have, I guess, is like a leak or recharge estimate yet, right, Dan? Like we got what's in place physically, but not the maintenance to replace if there has been leakage. So that would, I think, be an important next step.
Yeah, one thing we'll need, hopefully maybe with your help, Julie, is purchase records. I don't know how the city's purchasing system works. If, say, the fire department, if their AC unit, stops working, do they call the technician, or do they have to put in a requisition and the city calls it on their behalf? How well was that record kept? That may be a little futile, trying to capture all of that, unless somehow the city buys everything at in an easy to digest way, like buys it all at once at the beginning of the year, or if it's very ad hoc and split up between each building. Seems pretty unlikely that we'll be able to tackle that, but we can at least, since we have all the equipment, It'll be in a spreadsheet. We'll know roughly how many pounds of refrigerant and what kinds are spread around the city. And, if we put a 1% leakage assumption on that or 2, then we can kind of guess, the greenhouse gas footprint from that.
Okay. You guys have been doing the workshops, right?
Yeah, with P2I. Yep.
Is it getting into an inventory or action plan bigger than the municipal buildings, i.e. the community?
Not yet, I don't think.
No, we've been focused on the municipalities footprint first.
Do you think it's going to expand to that, or that that the scope is gonna stay within just our control, our operations?
So far, it seems like we're sticking to city operations.
Phillipstown seems like they're a little ahead. Like they have like they were describing at least like their education and outreach component, which had to do with, it wasn't surveying of the like non-municipal, but it was definitely like outreach to the community about like proper disposal. And I think they had figured out a way to waive the fee for dropping off units that had, but I didn't understand how they did that. Somehow it's now free to dispose of appliances in Phillipstown that have refrigerants in them. So we'll have to ask them more about how they're doing that. They seem a little bit ahead of us on this path.
Okay, yeah, I've seen their flyer that they put out, which seemed well done. But yeah, whatever we can glean from them and replicate here if possible. I don't know a lot about Phillipstown / don't even know where it is. It's in Westchester? Rockland?
No, isn't it Dutchess? Isn't it just
Putnam.
south of Putnam?
Putnam.
Well.
Guess we don't know. Small though. I think it's really small.
Okay.
So they're dealing with a smaller community. But whatever. We can copy some of their stuff. They're still doing good stuff.
Yeah, it's Cold Spring and Garrison.
Oh, got it. Okay, awesome. Anything else right now? So you guys can follow up with me to see what you need to get, but anything else for the commission on refrigerants?
The only thing I can think of is we had been looking at some of the city code, which has like enforcement for people or municipalities or whatever that are disposing of refrigerants improperly, and all the code says Freon in it. And I just think that maybe we should take that on to make the language more correct, to change it to refrigerants instead of Freon, since it's a brand name and it's not the commonly used refrigerant anymore.
Sure. I think
and
that's
I don't know the processes for that, but that seems like something that's within our wheelhouse.
That is one of the pillars of what we're trying to tackle. So the city's use, community use and waste collection, and getting the policy updated, because it's very Montreal protocol centric. So the whole angle of that piece of the code seems to be from an ozone and Montreal protocol lens. So it should be updated. Like Maya said, it says Freon. So I don't know what kind of a effort that is to get city regulation changed.
Well, if it's changing the code, I mean, there's been an effort to look at redoing the code. Right now it's happening piecemeal, but I mean, I think that what would be best would be you all or we all pulling together proposed revised language and then getting that to the council, so that they can, ultimately it would need to be passed through the council to change the code. The question is now whether or not changes to the code are going to happen piecemeal or they're going to happen more comprehensively. I think a lot of people are advocating for a more comprehensive overhaul of the code, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So I know that there's different advances piecemeal to be moving things along. So either way, to be prepared for whatever happens, modifying the code and making recommendations would be the best next step.
And then
Yeah, I can pull it. I pulled that out. We have it in a shared folder, like the code that's relevant to refrigerants. I can send it to
You froze, Maya? Or you're deep in thought?
you, Julie, maybe like with highlighted language that looks incorrect, and then we. Am I back? Yeah.
You're in
I can pull
now.
out the code and I can send it around, and then
We got you. We're following. Okay, perfect. So you're going to pull up the code, send it to me, we'll take a look at it. Excellent. Okay, great. Anything else on refrigerants? Thanks, Dan and Maya.
just if somehow the city waste collection or happens to have any new or newish data on what they've collected, like appliances and what's gone to UCRA or to scrap or otherwise.
Yeah, if you send me a note, I have all the data up, certainly all complete year up till 2019 and then partial year for this year. So I can get you that.
Okay.
Excellent.
What we got?
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to city sustainability projects. Lots of stuff going on. LED project is in its final week. Is it, people? It's happening. Actually this morning and tomorrow morning at a very early hour, myself and the electrician have been driving around and doing our final inspection to getting all the punch lists for the final inspection for the LED project. DNM, our contractor, is set to demobilize rather, by the end of next week, and they are going to be moving on to Red Hook. And so we are going to find any possible issues that there are in the next 2 days, report those, and call it a day. Hopefully call it a day for a long time. The fixtures are going to be, the labor is warranted for a year and the fixtures are warranted for 10. So it's looking great, and I couldn't be more excited that we are nearing the end. It is very exciting to go around town and see the lighting. And any that you see that are different now are in their last days of being different. So that is very, very exciting to me to get that contract completed. There's a lot of action that's been happening in the parks. If you frequent Hasbrook Park, and go up to the top, you'll see a brand new pavilion roof, which was completed last week. If you go down to Kingston Point, there's a brand new ADA compliant ramp and changing room that was completed a couple weeks ago. If you go by Barman Park, or the Metro as we all locally call it, you'll notice it's now wide open space between the Metro and Barman. The fence and the vegetation is removed in between, creating a much more broad and open space. It's going to have a different vegetation style once the Metro is put in. Hutton Park is going to be getting a new makeover very shortly. We put out a bid today for full renovation of the Hutton Park Pavilion. Wi-Fi is being installed in many of the parks. Lauren Park Playground is getting retrofitted, supposed to be today, but when it stops raining, it'll be happening in the next few days. What else is, Raquel Knox Park is down on Gill Street, has a new playground that's been ordered. New blocks will be arriving soon, new fencing, new play surface. That's going to happen before the end of this year. Barman Park itself is getting a whole new play element and a new play surface before the end of this year. So Kingston Point Park is going to get a huge new playground. We had to tear out the other one, so we're going to be putting in a brand new playground there. And other parks as well that haven't started yet, but Van Buren, we're going to be putting in a new shade structure. The Andy Murphy Center, we're going to be redoing the kitchen. The Hodge Center, we're redoing the parking lot, the fence, and the front door. lots happening. So check out Hasbrook Park Pavilion. It is fantastic. It was our worst condition pavilion, and the roof is all complete, and that is great. And also use the ramp going to the bathroom at the point. When you get to the bathroom, it will be closed though, so you can use the ramp as much as you want, but the bathrooms are closed for the winter. So great, use that ramp. Open space plan, I believe that there was a public hearing. I don't actually know how that went. I know that Alderman Scott Childress is on the call. I don't know if he could update us on how that went, but I do understand there were some technical difficulties, so I don't know if that ended up working itself out or not. I know that at least a few people have been trying to make comments there. I haven't heard otherwise, but I have to assume they went swimmingly, but I don't have that for confirmation for sure. The organics diversion plan, we are still prodding along with drafting that up. I'm getting a lot of outreach or communications from other communities that have heard about what we're doing and are very eager to see our final plan. So that's exciting. That's hopefully going to come together by the end of the year, but we are actively drafting that. The electric vehicle charging station at the building safety building downtown off Garrigan Drive is live. You can park there. And if you've been following the news, there's also a law that's been passed on a state level that you will now not be able to ice or use your internal combustion engine parking at electric vehicle charging stations. And you also can't just mooch by using your electric vehicle parking there without actually plugging in. So that is fantastic from a perspective of enforcement. We have had no teeth whatsoever to do anything about it, even though people complain about it all the time. We've done a warning system, but this actually gives us action to be able to take. It's not happening a whole ton.
What's the fine? What's the fine? People get like a ticket or something, right?
I don't know if that was established or if that's a local decision. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, but people get some kind of a ticket, right? If they park in the.
Yes.
But we don't know what the fine is yet. Okay. Well, it's very exciting because
I would presume that the fine would be a locally established thing, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay. Oh, because it's not a Kingston thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a Kingston law. This
No.
is a state thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. So this is a state thing. Ah, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Very
So,
cool.
yes. That's probably as many things as I want to update right now. Are there any questions on any of those things or something that you wanted to know about that I didn't mention? I'm looking to my to-do list to see what else I'm working on. Okay, so there we are with that. Repair Cafe. John was not able to make it, but I'll hand it to Melissa.
Okay, I have two announcements. One of them I wanted to share my screen. I don't know. Can I do that here?
Yep, I'm going to give you permissions. Please know this
Share
will be
screen
live
app
to the
organizer.
world. Make sure whatever we're seeing is. All right, let's see. Should be good.
Okay, so first I wanted to show you this repair site. Oh, hello, hold on. Boop. Okay. So repairmonitor.org, basically this intern from Sustainable Hudson Valley reached out to me. She's been entering data on this website for a few repair cafes. I know for sure New Paltz, I know Kingston. There's a third that I'm not sure, but it's on the site. And I basically gave her some of the Excels that I've been making and taking all the paper forms and putting into Excels, and I sent her them, and she put them into this. So similar to the tables that I was sharing and the reasons I was making all those Excels to create charts like this, this is actually just all of the repair cafes in the US and other countries participating. So all their data is on this site. This is a little recap. I'm trying to hold on, close the chat. I gotta move this over. The go-to thing is in the way. Oh. Well, anyway, so this is the result of us. You can filter it to all of the U.S. It's a little inaccurate because of the data she was using. So it says half advice given, and that's because our sign-in sheets do not follow up with people. It doesn't tell you was the item fixed. From that info, if they choose to leave a comment in our comments book, we get it from there. And then recently we were creating these giant chart papers for people to write on their way out. And then I had to sit there matching them up with the sign-in sheets. So I don't really trust this data in a way. I mean, it is there and now, everyone can see it. But, I would love to see going forward those data sheets and sign-in sheets remade, and that's on my to-do list, so that we can actually follow up with those items, and it's not a guessing game of, was it repaired or not. So, it is there for everyone to see, but just take it with a grain of salt. We've done, 50 repairs at Cafe, so we only have 116, pieces of information in there, and so, yeah, that's all the caveats with that. But yeah, it was really nice that she reached out and, entered all that data into this platform.
Can we see the products most often brought in?
Can what?
Can you scroll down and show us what the products most
Yes,
often
I'm
brought in?
trying. I just don't want to exit. Oh, okay, I can move it. Duh. All right, so I was looking for that. So yeah, you can filter it by dates. You can filter it by brands. So, if people specify, did they bring in an iPhone? Did they bring in a Dyson vacuum cleaner? Here's like the breakdown. And then per category, and then just a bunch of table stuff. But yeah, so there's up. And then if you go up, you can say results. I forgot where to pick all of there's some place to choose like all of the US, but you can download the results. Where the heck is the over? No, I have no idea where it is, but it's somewhere on here. She just finished this last week, so I haven't really gotten a chance. Oh, here you go. All national results. Loading. There are no results. There were, for Afghanistan. Let's see. US. There was only 564 pieces of data entered. So, I mean, and if you see them, the locations here, there are quite a few, but accounts were made, but then the information hasn't been inputted yet. So, all these places will be participating in this site. It's just very in the early stages. So yeah, New Paltz, Yorktown, I was one of them, and then I think us. So
it's great.
Warwick. Yeah. So that's that. The second thing is that Bike Friendly Kingston is having a bike clinic. They've been having these, and I think 2 bike clinics ago they said that was their last one, but they've been so successful that they are keeping into the winter. So the next one is November 4th from 3 to 5 p.m. They're partnering with 2 law firms to distribute free lights, free bells, and helmets. So if anybody needs any of those items, I actually think in my email, I think it's just outside the YMCA. But yeah,
and I would put a plug for bells, because I know that in the recent effort to increase police presence in Kingston. They have been pulling people over on bikes without bells. So
Yeah. That's why, yeah, they're partnering with the law firms, and it's a big push to get everyone safely, covered in the community. Yeah, so it's outside the YMCA. They don't have a flyer, which, I wish they would create something on Facebook to share around. But this is kind of a press release that I was sent that I forwarded to my Kingston Repair Cafe email list. If you guys want it, I can send you it. But yeah, 3 to 5 p.m. and then rain date November 5th. So that's that.
Great. Can you
I would
post
like
that?
to have that sent out if you don't mind.
Yeah. Also, who else is managing Facebook besides John Wackman? Anyone? Or is he the go-to guy?
I think he's a go-to guy.
Okay, so can you ask him to post it? If he
Yeah.
has it, please. Great.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, great. Anything else on Repair Cafe? Those are
No.
two pieces of good news.
Yeah.
All right, anything on outreach and education or youth engagement?
Yes. I've kept my screen shared because I created a draft of the magnet to a couple options. I don't know what you guys are thinking. It's fine if you don't like this, but this is for the magnet that would go by a register in a pizza place. I asked some people for their opinions, and some people didn't get the concept, so I don't know if you get it. It's supposed to be a Sicilian pizza with our logo. And then this is the information. I don't know if it's coming across right. I also tried this one where I broke up the logo into pizza slices, but there's that one. And then there's a third, which is just kind of a basic planer situation. Again, if you want to hire out or whatever, I'm not a designer, but I just figured I'd give it a crack at it.
I love the infographic of it being in the pizza box. I did not whatsoever pick up on the pizza part of it, even though the cut up piece was a little bit better, but that seems like it takes some description.
Okay.
These are really cute, Melissa. These are really cute.
Yeah, it is really cute.
See, I feel like I have to explain it though for you to be like, cute. Yeah.
It's still cute. I mean, just the pizza box itself is really cool without you having to explain. I mean,
yeah. Well, I was definitely trying to fit our logo, and I feel like our logo is challenging because there's so many details in those little logos like that. If you shrink it, you can't see anything. So it's like, I felt like it had to be in the box as a pizza, but maybe a designer can fit it in a different way.
Well, looks great.
And yeah, you can't make it circular either, but.
Very cute. Great job.
I did confirm that I do have money to produce these.
Okay.
So maybe we do it before the end of the year.
Okay. So
I think it would come across. I think it would
Sorry,
come
go ahead.
across if instead of being a Sicilian pizza, if it was just round and then the only slice coming out was rectangular.
I agree with that. Our logo is a square logo, so I don't know how to round it out without cutting off part of those symbols.
Melissa, what's a pizza tent?
That's actually the little white little table. And I actually wanted to know if you guys wanted that included. I actually didn't ask Julie if that was accurate. I just remember when I was a kid, my mom would just, make like for our Barbies and stuff, she would use that because it wasn't recyclable. But and I don't know if many places use that anymore. I think like Domino's in certain places, but I thought I would just throw that in there. But yeah, and then I said, extra recycling facts can be found at, and that way we can link it to like a Kingston, informational site or something like that. But
Kingston-NY/recycle.
Okay.
I wonder if just using a different term for that little table thing might be helpful, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I've never heard it called a pizza tent.
Yeah.
But there's gotta is that the technical name, or were you guessing that's what it was?
I looked up online what
they're called?
The thing in the pizza box, and I got pizza tent because I guess it tent protects the pizza
it keeps
from
the box from squishing.
I
Yeah.
think this is our opportunity to change the name of it. Let's start a campaign to change the name of it.
Table.
The mini
Tell
table,
me
the
what-
pizza box, the Barbie table.
Tell me what you want me to write and I'll put it.
Maybe just like
Um,
any plastic in your pizza box is probably not recyclable, or just any plastic in your pizza box is not recyclable.
That's weird though. I think that's weird.
Fine.
I mean, maybe this is an
Plastics.
opportunity to teach people a new term, pizza tents. I mean, that's what it is. Call it what it is.
Yeah. Well, I could even, I don't know if that's weird to put a little word bubble and be like, I'm not recyclable either. Because you get that that's what that is, or no?
I think
No.
if you have a picture of the little thing on, I feel like if you figured out a way to like have a picture of a pizza rather than the logo there, if it were a pizza there and you had the little thing in the middle and then you did the speech bubble that said, I am not recyclable either, I think that would work out really well.
Agreed.
And the logo could be, instead of the logo being the pizza, the logo can just be like on the box somewhere. I think having the logo on like that bottom lip of the box might even look cute if it's not too small. But yeah, I think having a little speech bubble would be a cute way to do that.
When I it, it's like, so it has to be so small.
Can you
Yeah.
break it apart so you get the symbols next to the words, so it's not on top of each other but next to?
Yeah, then it'll be like the list on the pizza box that's like anchovies, sausage.
Well, that's what that was. That's what the check marks are. It's like, and then extra, like extra topping. I can try to put this up there. Is that what?
I think if it's possible to fit it on that lip of the pizza box in either 2 or even 3 sections, so that you've got the line of, and obviously I'm not a graphic designer, none of us are well, someone here probably is, I'm not, but you can put like the little line of what are those called, the icons, and then
Yes,
like
that's a good idea. Just stretch it out. Okay.
yeah, I think that was what Maya was trying to explain. And then if you had that pizza in the middle and the little white thing was on the pizza, I think it would be more obvious that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is very cute though. I like the design of it a lot.
Especially if we
you.
make it into a magnet that's cut out the shape of the actual pizza box.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Totally loving it.
All right. Great. Yay. All right. So I'll make another draft for next time, November. We'll still have time, right? Or do you just want me to like make one, send it, and see how that works?
Yeah, I mean, by then though, I'm gonna need you to get like quotes for places. And how
Okay.
much it cost.
Okay. I mean, I could fix this, this week. So.
Great.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
awesome. Really good
I
job.
will. Thank you. Don't know how to stop sharing. Stop sharing screen. Okay.
Just real quick before you move on from that item, I just wanted to mention that there's also a Bike and Bell clinic on Sunday, the 1st of November at Van Buren Park. Did you know that, Julie?
Nope.
And it's bike friendly and it's the Y, it's all the same things, plus it's also the Beyond the Four Walls outreach program sponsoring it. But I just thought, I don't know if there's some way that we can kind of also add that date to the posting on Facebook to help promote that for people who live in this part of town.
I think that one actually has a flyer. I've seen that one.
Yeah, someone shared it with me, but I don't know if John's available right now, and he's the only contact I have to share things with on Facebook. But I just thought since it's happening sooner, and additionally that the people should know that's an additional time.
Yeah, I think he's traveling to Chicago to spend time with his family for Halloween. So I don't know if he'll be accessible. I can text him though. Because even if he gives me the login info, I can always try to change it or, do whatever we need to do.
If there's a way for you to become an additional administrator, it would be great for us to have more than one.
Okay.
I think I can also post things on the Facebook page.
Okay. Great. Awesome. Anything else on outreach and education?
I don't have anything yet at this time.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Green Business Challenge, Green Jobs, Betta or anyone else?
Status quo, unfortunately. I think with all the budget, cuts and bad budget situation, they're not going to be hiring anyone anytime soon for the Green Business Challenge, but I don't know. That's all I know.
Okay, any updates on how the wrap-up went with the Green Jobs program?
I think it was a big success and everybody was really happy about it. The Empower Kingston Green Jobs internship. So I think people would definitely want to do it again, and everybody had a positive experience. And I don't remember the exact number, but a considerable number of the interns are continuing on with permanent employment and pursuing future education. So I think it was a big success.
That's great. And that's really the goal. Get people real permanent jobs. Awesome. Okay, thanks. Kevin, any zoning updates? No. You muted.
Sorry. Yeah, I was at the Growwell Kingston meeting on Monday with Emily Flynn and a group of the whole group that's assembled there, which is a pretty large group. And I think where the zoning is going, it's going to be a subgroup of Growwell Kingston, which is in itself a subgroup of Livewell Kingston. And chickens were not discussed.
Not too often that you can just end a sentence with, and chickens were not discussed.
Nope, I think they're Growwell Kingston. They're not, Chicken Kingston. So it was brought up to them though, the chicken thing. But that's been, if you've seen, that's created some controversy in terms of code enforcement and that. And yeah, this group we'll see what they do with it. But right now, nothing. So to be continued.
Great.
I feel like maybe I missed something about chickens.
Yeah, it's been in the Daily Freeman, and one of the council members had contacted me about it to bring it up at Growwell Kingston. And in my collective memory, I can remember this coming up at the Conservation Advisory Council many years ago, and it was, there's people that like chickens, and there's people that don't. And that might be it, there's complaints about roosters from the people that don't like chickens. So, and then some of the people that do like chickens are saying we don't have roosters, we just have chickens. So it'll be continued.
So that must have been really random for you, Cal, or anyone who hasn't heard about what's going on, for Kevin to just randomly bring up chickens. Yeah, so it's interesting in that, like, as Kevin said, it was on the CAC agenda for months, many years ago, and then it just, I don't want to say died, it stopped. And of late, if you actually take note of it, it's kind of like if you say red car, you're going to see a red one. I bet you'll all see a chicken now, like in a road somewhere in town, and be like, oh my gosh, this is a thing. So I'm glad that it came back up. I'm also glad that Growwell Kingston or whoever's working on it, I hope that it isn't going to be controversial. It does need to be addressed, but I'm glad that people are looking at it. So, okay, thanks, Kevin. John's not here for Heat Smart. Does anyone have anything that they know about Heat Smart that they want to update? If not, we will table that. Okay, tabled. Anyone have anything on solar or community solar?
Just my house.
Live as we speak. That's awesome. Congratulations, Cal.
Thank you.
All right, anything on the bike pad master plan? Maya, have you been connected to that at all yet? You around still, Maya? I stepped out. I haven't actually heard anything of late. I know that Emily Flynn is coordinating that. Kevin, you haven't heard anything through Live Well through Emily at all, right? Okay. So we'll table that for now. Jessica, anything with the New York Energy stretch code?
Yeah, I got connected with Mike DeWeen from, he's an outreach consultant with NYSERDA, and he is really enthusiastic about helping us figure out how to get stretch codes implemented. And I've connected him with our code enforcement officer, and he basically asked if we want to have him come in and do a presentation for the committee to get everyone on the same page. It'll be a lot of the same info as we kind of heard the first time, but from Hugo. But he also has some information on best practices and like some case studies for other communities of how they've adopted the codes. So that's kind of where the point we're at now is if we feel like, I guess my question is, do we want to have NYSERDA come in and present on that? Or, because I think the next step after that would be like having a presentation for the Common Council, like a more like informal presentation, so that then after that information session and after the code enforcement officer is on board, then it can eventually go for a vote.
So what do folks think?
And
Do we want to bring in another presentation?
I'd like to hear more about it, partially because I'm also on the Kingston City Land Bank board, and I think there's going to be opportunity for crossover on this in the very near future.
Would that include in the presentation? Would the council members be included? The Common Council members? So I think they would. That's important. I think they could really need to understand this. My brief discussions with them in doing what Serena's doing now as the liaison, where I found that, you know, it wasn't really taking off. They were like, oh, code changes? Oh, you know, so it sounded like they needed education on it.
Well, Jessica, are you suggesting a two-phase approach? One of us just come to us first and then we go to the council? Or what do you think is the best approach?
yeah, I think we could do a presentation for our group again and get all of us on the Climate Smart Committee up to speed, and then do a presentation for the council. Or if we want to if we feel like we're all on the same page, we could try to schedule something with the council. I'm not really sure.
And where does Steve Knox or whoever you've been working with in the building department fit into this? Have they had these kind of conversations already, or do they need to be part of this presentation as well?
It'd probably be good if they could be part of it too.
I would suggest then,
yeah, like
overall, makes sense to me would be to have us and the code and the building department together in one meeting without the council first, and then we can ask very pointed questions. We can talk about like logistics and concerns, out any awkwardness on the table, and there are whatever we're going to advocate for, and then present that to the council when we have a solid plan. That's what I would think would make a little bit more sense. But if we want to just like cut right to the chase.
Yeah, I've cutting to the chase sounds a little extreme. I don't know. I've never really done anything like this before. So I think what you just suggested sounds really good. And I just don't know if we would do that. So would that have to be, would that be like at our next meeting, or should we schedule like a separate call for that with the code enforcement officer?
It doesn't have to be. I mean, we could do it at our next meeting. we can ask him if he wants to do it then.
Yeah.
I mean, the person the presenter, are they willing to come to an evening meeting?
Definitely.
Okay, so I would say that, have you been in communication? Are you working with Steve Knox? Is that who you're working with? At building safety division?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him lately. But this guy, Mike, he knows him through previous trainings for building inspectors. So they're gonna hopefully talk soon.
Okay, so I would reach out to Steve
And then
Knox, see if he would be willing to come to whenever we set our next meeting, which we're gonna do at the end of this meeting. And if he is, then I would set it up with Mike. Is that his name, Mike? And then we can get it on the agenda. I'll just need to know how much time he would want and what kind of, I guess that's it. I was gonna say what kind of presentation setup he would need, but literally we're all sitting in our own chairs and I'm just gonna hit, you're the presenter. So just let me know, because like if he wants half an hour, 45 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't really matter to me. It's just a matter of how long the meeting's gonna be, and we can truncate some of the other things.
okay,
Is everyone okay with that plan?
sounds good.
Yes? Okay, fantastic. Thank you for working on that. And if there's anything, you can also, when you speak with Mike, see if there's anything he wants us to review in advance. You know, that will help us move things along if he wants to.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, moving on to new business. This is a put it on the agenda and see if anyone wants to talk about it. Pollinator garden project. This was, the concept was brought forward by Betta. She talked about at a previous meeting that, or another meeting, that not Climate Smart meeting, that this is an effort that we're not familiar with happening very cohesively around town, and maybe Climate Smart would want to take it up. So I don't know, Betta, if you wanted to speak to it at all.
Well, it's just something that I know other communities are doing and promoting, and seems like something that Kingston could get excited about. I'm not any kind of an expert in encouraging pollinator gardens, but thought since Conservation Advisory Council is more kind of policy oriented and our group is more community kind of action oriented, maybe people might be interested. But I also don't know if there's such a connection between pollinators and climate, but there certainly is towards like overall sustainability.
Are people aware of the work that Greg Shaheen at the Kingston Land Trust is doing in this regard?
I don't know.
I could forward that around, yeah. I think he's trying to get a project off the ground at 78 Franklin Street on a city-owned parcel.
That's some permaculture work, right? Am I thinking of the right thing?
Yeah, there was also a pollinator thing involved with that too. And then Jared came in with Barbara Scott on a separate thing. So it might be, I think Greg should probably be the person to really discuss that. I'd have to go through the Kingston Land Trust Google Drive and pull out all the information. And, you know, I don't think we have time for that right now, but there is some activity on it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's great. So if there's something that's already underway, maybe we could support it. Is there an action that people feel like Climate Smart should or can be taking? Do people want to take this up? Do you want to think about it? Do we want to see what Kevin circulates and then we can revisit it at a future meeting?
Woodstock is doing a lot of work on this. It's possible we could just plug into the Woodstock pollinator pathway, which is extant work. And also Liz Elkin in New Paltz has done a bunch of work on this. She also runs Bloom Landscaping. I am always very excited about pollinator habitat, but I don't think it necessarily falls under the Climate Smart umbrella. I think it would be a cool thing to work on, but I don't know that there's much of a connection to this particular committee with the amount of other stuff we've got going on. Just my thoughts. I would be excited about it. I would like to help with it. I don't think I would do it as part of this group.
Okay. Any other opinions or thoughts?
See it is in the educational like brochure thing that we were making, just to educate about making a pollinator pathway, that would attract bees in your area is good, something like that educational wise, but not maybe a whole, whole thing. But
right, like rain gardens I could understand as being climate related. Like I can see the tie-in. And like a lot of the permaculture stuff is really good for creating resilient landscapes that will continue to thrive despite like vacillation in weather and climate. That I think pollinators specifically are less connected, but I don't know. That's my thought.
Another resource is Cornell Cooperative Extension of Ulster County, the Master Gardeners. I think they do some work with this stuff too. They probably have some outreach materials.
Okay, so am I hearing that people can feed into these different options on their own, or that we want to build something into our education through Climate Smart? I'm hearing both possible options.
I mean, I remember going to like a pollinator pathway talk. They had like this documentary. I don't remember the connection though, so I don't want to misspeak if it, how that connects. But if Cal is more, just, I don't know, knowledgeable or
I don't see it as a climate smart project, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do anything. I don't see it as a project for this group to work on as part of Climate Smart.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like I'm hearing from Betta as well. Okay.
Seems like, I mean, I love the idea, and it would be great if somebody would do it. But I don't know if it fits in with what we're doing.
Okay,
Just
so what?
The YMCA Farm Project and their youth program also are doing the BARK program. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. They're also doing pollinator work in all of the improvements that they're doing. So I guess to kind of kick in on the same line, I think a lot of groups around here are working on that, and maybe we can boot it to someone that we know will pick it up and run with it.
Like Grow Well.
Oh, ooh.
Okay, so maybe Kevin, if you want to bring it up at a future meeting and Grow Well. Awesome. And those of you who mentioned a resource, if you would circulate to this group so we can individually choose whether we want to follow up, that would be awesome as well. Is that okay with folks? Okie doke. All right, on to public safety general government. Anything from public safety general government? Serena?
From last month?
Or Kevin?
You mean from last month?
What? Sorry, I can't hear you.
From last month?
Yes, yeah. Anything?
The only thing that they discussed, I mean, I gave the report. I was able to give the report. And then they talked about removing stop signs, which they did, which was really cool. I'm sure all you guys have noticed that there's like blinking red stoplights and stop signs that have been taken away. And I thought it wasn't relevant, but then I thought about it, and it totally is, because they brought up the electrical use of the blinking red stoplights, which stop, effective immediately, no more electric to just let those blink forever and ever and ever. And then, I don't know, I think some kind of like idling thing or something about stopping traffic or, whatever, impeding traffic so people can drive through and not make as many stops. But other than that, there wasn't really much to report from the last public safety meeting.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, there's definitely environmental savings and cost savings in that measure. Okay, thank you. Betta or Cal, any update from Ulster County Climate Smart? Or not?
Every single month I plan to take notes to bring to this meeting, and every single month I fail to do so.
You're consistent.
Betta, what do you remember that was important? Oh, I promise.
I feel like I usually do take notes, but I did not this week. I know it's a whole bit of a blur, even though it was only a couple of days ago, isn't it? What is there to report? Man, would kill me.
Oh, there was talk about some kind of like a breakout group almost, like a Betta help. I'm so
then
sorry,
Amanda,
everybody.
Laval, and Europa.
Yes, Amanda and Europa are working on something. What are they working on?
Oh, this is like a Family Feud kind of game.
It's like charades.
I know, this is really sad. My impression was that they're looking to help municipalities that really need help. And I don't think Kingston would like fall into that category, since Kingston is already, so far along in the Climate Smart accreditation program, and most municipalities don't have a Julie Noble on staff. So so I don't necessarily think that pertains to Kingston. That.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was more like almost like mentoring or like a doulaing towns through the process of becoming certified at different levels of Climate Smart. Yeah. So that is a cool thing, and a lot of the towns that are more recently getting into Climate Smart are really excited about that. It feels less pertinent to Kingston. I think that was the biggest thing. Other than that, there were some like small updates from various towns that are doing their own small projects, but that was the biggest, I think, piece of information, was this program to help some more with Climate Smart.
Does anyone from New Paltz go to that?
Right now, Janelle Piotr is representing New Paltz at the meetings usually.
Are they involved in the Community Preservation Act? Did they update on that?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Betta, do you know anything about that?
Community Preservation Act? No.
It doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. So the town of New Paltz is moving forward on the
Everyone's very tired.
Is it a ballot initiative?
There's a referendum on the ballot for a community preservation fund, which sets a fund for when people put in a new development over a certain amount, that certain amount is applied to that, a tax is applied to that for preservation of open space.
I did hear about that only because I early voted in New Paltz, and there were a lot of people waiting to ask me if I was a resident of New Paltz so that they could tell me to vote for that. But there was no mention of that in the meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be interested to see how that works out in this year's election, because we considered doing it this year. So I'm interested to see if it's successful or not in New Paltz.
The mood in the voting line seemed pretty in favor, but obviously you never know what someone's actually going to do.
It was interesting. Also, I was listening to the radio this morning, and I heard an ad on WRWD for people to vote against it. So that was an interesting ad, and it was by a group called, don't know, Save New Paltz or something. This is irrelevant. I don't know the name. This is a non-informative discussion. So if you listen to WRWD, you'll hear it. Okay, so any other announcements, communications, events, or updates?
Yeah, I'm going to the Heritage meeting right after this, and we were sent a lot of stuff from the Army Corps of Engineers on the nationwide permits. They're changing the certain nationwide permits, with respect to wetlands. And we have some DOS guidance on it. DOS had some concerns because they're, I think you have things coming out of, the present administration and the federal government that are less than friendly to wetlands, and it needs to be monitored. So I'll see what happens at the Heritage Area Commission. We have guidance from City Hall that came from the city historian, Taylor Brook, which I wasn't aware that he was familiar with the Army Corps procedures and policies, but he reviewed some documents from DOS and spoke to them. But he thought most of them were not all that significant. But when I looked at the Army Corps, I was like, maybe we should do whatever DOS is recommending, support their position. So I think that's where we left it. Well, that'll be continued in about 20 minutes.
Okay. Any other announcements, communications, events, or updates?
New Paltz is doing their Welcome Winter Expo as an online event this year with like digital breakout rooms instead of tables, which I think is going to be really interesting. I believe that's on December 3rd, so something to keep an eye out for. Groups that would like to table can sign up to do so. Folks who would like to volunteer can sign up to do so. I can find those links from Jess Mullen and send them around to the group if people would like them. But just to be aware that that's something interesting that's coming up, and they're trying, since it's going to be digital, they're trying to broaden their scope to include other counties and not just Ulster.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? So we talked about some social media postings. Before we close, I would like to evaluate our next meeting date. It's currently set at the regular scheduled time for Wednesday, November 25th. And in the past, we have changed that meeting date because it's the night before Thanksgiving. So we can either look at our calendars now and choose, which is my preference, or I can send out a doodle. Are people prepared to look at calendars? Great. We can do the night before, the 24th. We can do the week before, the 18th. Or another possibility that someone else suggests.
Those both work for me. I could do either one.
I would prefer the night before.
The 24th, I don't believe I would be able to attend. But I actually could do the 25th because I'm not going anywhere.
Me too.
Me three.
We could just keep it if no one's traveling. Oh yeah, it looks like people are not traveling. Do we need to move it? I could still make it.
Okay, let's vote. How many people would want to keep it on the 25th?
I don't have a preference if that works for people, and can't come the night before, and most people. Julie, is that not a good night for you? We can make the week before the work if that works for other people. November.
Because all the states are closed. There's now walls around every state, and so any traveling I thought I was going to do is now traveling from my kitchen to my dining.
Does November 18th work for other people?
No, everyone wants to be on the 25th. It's fine. It's all right. Even if I'm in my bathroom, I could still be traveling and I could still be on the call. It's fine.
Well,
If
so let's
something
just
comes
see
up
if,
when we get
if it,
closer, I will indicate to you all that this isn't going to work. But for now, the consensus is keep it. So we will
Serena
have.
had a hand up. Serena, were you okay with keeping it, or did you want to move it? Looked like you might not be.
I was kind of on the fence, but I think I'm working Thanksgiving anyway. I don't know why. It's just a vestige of a tradition that has. My parents are going to Mexico for the holidays this year, so it's a whole new world. I guess their infection rate is lower than Ulster County. No offense.
uh,
Okay.
well, I'm happy to do the 18th if that works for other people. I can make it work. It's a little crazy week, but I can do it. If that's better for you, Julie, and it works for other people.
Yeah, but this isn't the what's better for Julie show. It's what's better for the collective. And the collective said,
Well, does the week before work for other people?
I have to leave at 6 because I have the Kingston Land Trust meeting on the 18th, and we're doing a whole big production on the burial ground.
okay, so how many people could do the 18th if we did it on the 18th?
I can do it, but you know, like,
Okay. So then we're going to go with the 18th. Okay, that's happening. Perfect. All right, so I will move it on the calendar. And do we have any other business?
If
If
not,
not,
I make a motion to adjourn.
okay, can I get a second?
Second,
second. Okay, who is that?
me.
Karen,
Okay, okay.
all in favor of adjourning, tell me aye or not tell me aye. Okay, all set, 6:26, that is. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Happy Halloween in whatever way you celebrate or don't celebrate. And happy All Saints and All Souls Day if you celebrate or don't celebrate. And I'll see you.
Ooh, nice cow. Glow in the dark bat.
I thought it was gonna glow in the dark, but my screen's too bright.
It's glowing a little. It was glowing a little.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, hey, yeah.
Glows for a second. Okay, goodbye.